Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United are in a title challenge, title charge. However you want to look at it, we're in the mix. We're in the mixer because, you know what, the permutations, you've all done it, you've all looked through them. By the end of this month, we could be. Or are we just caught? We are completely talking garbage right now. I don't know. I'm going to discuss it with Charlie and Beth, who are with me right here, right now. I'll say with properly this time. You were with me here, right now. Well, thanks everyone tuning in. Obviously, get your comments in on everything we're talking about, but it is predominantly title charge. But first of all, guests, Beth, Charlotte, how are we doing? Happy?
Good, yeah, good, thank you.
I'm excited with the way United are at the minute, so that makes me happy.
It's good because we've not done a live show together for a while. A lot has happened over the Christmas period.
Yeah.
First of all, actually, we best start with what is actually going on in the world with United right now. Jack Butland, new reserve goalkeeper. Okay, moving on. I'm only joking, no disrespect to anything, but no one is really interested in Jack Butland right now. Good for him. I don't think we'll see him play. I'd actually put Tom Heaton ahead of him, in my personal opinion.
Just quickly, just to touch on that, because I'm guessing De Gea might get a rest for the Charlton game, so who do you reckon might
That's it, he could come straight in.
Yeah, it might be Butland.
Could come straight in.
Heaton will play. Heaton will play. Although, do you remember when Butland was like the next big thing?
Oh, that Charlie said it before, around 2017, when he was really
He was
good
unbelievable
keeper.
on FIFA. Around that time, he was
everything.
the best goalkeeper on FIFA you could ever have. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, moving past FIFA, into the real deal, and what's going on with Manchester United.
Talk about the title, Adam.
Title challenge. Beth, we'll start with you, obviously, because you're very optimistic. You always have been very optimistic. Can United win the league?
Do you know what? People try and change me in the comments. It's too naive, getting too carried away. And do you know what? In this life, you want to be a dreamer. And fair enough, you might say certain things and you look back in the past and think, I shouldn't have said that, I probably should have had my feet on the ground a little bit more. But to get to the top, you need to aim for the top. I mean, what's the point of just aiming for limited opportunities? So can United win a title? Of course they can. Do I think they'll win a title? No, I don't. But you can talk about us being in the race because there's a few instrumental games now. I think the next 3 games coming up really decides. If we fail to do what we need to do in them, which is definitely a possibility, then you could rule us out. But if we manage to get some results, then we're definitely in amongst it. So it's an exciting time. City and Arsenal are that step ahead of us, absolutely. I mean, City, I think, will end up winning the league, but you can talk about United being in there. And don't get me wrong, United have only played the likes of Bournemouth, Forest and Wolves recently, but they're all 3 very good results. Now is the time to get tested. And everyone at home is lying if you don't look at the next few fixtures and go, well, if we beat City, if we beat Arsenal, and if these drop points to these, and if Tottenham beat Arsenal in North London derby, this could happen. Everything's always an if. Exactly
that. Super chat from Paul there says, ask again in March. When do you sort of look at it and go, if you were going to be convinced, Charlie, when would you look at it and say, what time of the year would you say, if we're in amongst it within 5 or 6 points at this time of the season, what's your sort of area? What would you say?
Are we even at the halfway mark yet?
No, 2 games away from halfway.
Yeah, look, you know what? It's actually mental to think that if we're in a title race, then so are Newcastle, right? It's not. You can't have say we are and then Newcastle aren't, or even you go a little bit below that. Personally, I put my smart head on and I'm like, I don't honestly want to even think about it. I don't want to consider it. I'm not actually interested in it until, as you say, at what point does it come to it? When does the season actually finish? Is it around May?
May.
Yeah. So I mean, the only time I would even entertain the thought of Manchester United possibly challenging for a title is probably April.
Well, you look at it this way. I mean, most people would say, look, halfway through the season or even after the January transfer window closes, you can see who's improved or got stronger. Then it'll give you a good inclination as to who you feel is going to go on a bit of a charge or who can actually handle that pressure. Squeaky bum time, as they call it, don't they? But here's one interesting fact. It's like our official halfway through the season mark finishes at the end of January when we've played Arsenal. The first part of our season, we would have played City and Arsenal twice already, and that's halfway.
Yeah.
Because of the way the fixtures fell. Manchester United already now, if they finish the second half of the season the way they've finished the first half, will be more than 70 points as Champions League. We've still got 2 games to go yet, and teams playing each other, like Beth said. You've got to look at everything. United have got the best record in the top 6 head to head, and we've played or we've played the best 2 teams in the league so far this season twice already before we've even got to halfway. That's a statement of where Manchester United are and how much we've improved. Have we improved enough to give you confidence that it's on?
Just quickly, I know it's quite easy to obviously look at how far we've come, and that's a huge positive, but we have got to remember also we're not far away from almost crumbling to that extent as well. It only takes a few injuries, you know, Martial to be injured, Casemiro to be injured. There is also, it could go the complete other way and a few results don't go our way and we find ourselves then slipping down and slowly battling to obviously get back into that top 4. But I mean, all the time we're winning football matches is, you know, we're going to stand the better chance to not only challenge for the Premier League, but, you know, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and obviously ultimately our goal this season in the Premier League should be to challenge for top 4. That's the goal.
So Liam with a super chat there. Sorry, Beth, I'll bring you in a minute there. Good to dream, but let's be real. Glazers won't supply the support for us to push on. So no, that's again. It's another comment there with
we need a sign.
What happens in January, doesn't it? Basically, is how we can really we can be realistic. I think we've got more clean sheets already than we have the whole of last season. We are the best defensive record in the league at home this season. We are, I think, at one point when we come back from the international break, we had the second best away record in the league, even though we've been smashed by Brentford, City, Villa. We're still up there competing, and I think we're doing it quietly, which is a bit different this time. We're sneaking up on the blind side a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone had ruled Manchester United out because of how poorly we started the season, and the fact we are in a rebuild, we are in transition. Like the Eric Ten Hag's like rebuilding Reds. Like when to the start of the season, I mean 4-0 Brentford, 2-1 or 2-0 Brighton
2-1 Brighton at home, 4-0 Brentford.
And you know, if you ruled out them 2 games where we were completely not on it, he picked the wrong players, and I think he kind of was shell shocked of how poor we actually were. Eric Ten Hag himself, and he thought, right, drastic measures need to be taken here immediately, and we came back and won against Liverpool. And it kind of kicked on our season. If you take out them 2 games, which we were a completely different team, we're second in the form table, 3 points behind Arsenal if you take them 2 games out, if the form table I looked at is correct, which I assume it was. So, I mean, a 74% win rate is it for Ten Hag so far? And what did Fergie say? Titles are built on defences. Goals win your games.
Titles win your defences win your titles.
And by any means, like, we can talk about it and we discuss it. I'm not out here saying United are going to win a title, but you do have to. I mean, you do have to put them in the conversation. But like Charlie said, we massively need investment in January. Goals is a problem. We're creating the most chances in the league. We're not converting them. But I would say if our 3 most important players don't get injured, and by that I would go with Casemiro is the most important because no one can play the role like him. Varane, and I would say Bruno/Rashford. We've got a good chance.
That's it. I mean, if buts and maybes, hindsight is the best player and best manager in the world in any league. Beth, you've been corrected. It's 72%.
Oh, 72. I was getting ahead of myself.
God, that's it. That 2% could be vital at the end of the season. Don't knock it anyway. The chat is there to help us. There's a few sick emojis in there. There's a few laughing emojis. I mean, yeah, you can take it. And the way that the last few seasons have gone, no trophies in 5 years, you can laugh off United's chances, and most people will, and I can understand that completely. But when you look at it, 1 defeat in 16 is a championship challenging form. It is championship challenging form. You can't deny that. You can't deny that we have performed well against Leicester teams recently, yes, but that's where we've fallen before. And compared to last season, to actually lead that top 6 race with games between the top 6, even if it's the top 7, you thought Newcastle was still top of that. We are competing and we are a match for anyone. It's the squad. The injuries is the one thing that Charlie picked up on, Beth, that I would probably say, and sway me, I'd be happy with top 4 just to get through this first season for Ten Hag.
I have to say I'd be disappointed if we didn't get top 4 now.
Yeah, I think now I'd be devastated.
Just because I know what we can do. Like, I wouldn't have didn't expect at the start of the season. I think we all predicted like 5th and 6th. Like, I did not expect top 4 at the start of the season, but now I know what we can do and how quickly Eric Ten Hag has imprinted this on the team as well. The players you can see that are already developing under his coaching, and we're only halfway through his first season in charge at United. I do think this manager is the right guy, and he is eventually going to reach the top. I think if he gets given the right tools, I think he's that good. I don't expect him to do that season, but right now I would be disappointed if we didn't get top 4, just because you've seen Liverpool have got frailties, Chelsea are garbage. I think they're massively in transition. Tottenham, I think, are so inconsistent, can turn it on occasionally, but I don't think they're as good as us. Like, I just don't. So, and Newcastle, to be fair, a big competition. I respect Newcastle.
Yeah.
Again, when we talk about defences, their defence is it's the most solid in the league. I think they've got the most clean sheets. So, you have to respect that about Newcastle and how far they've come. But we do need investment massively, like you were saying. It's needed.
This is what the comments are saying here. Not until we get cover for every single
Mark
position.
said we won't even get top 4. He still thinks we won't get top 4.
Yeah, I cannot see the difference this season, Charlie, is the manager.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I go, I've not seen a manager come in. I mean, how many managers have we seen post Alex Ferguson? This is the most exciting I've been about any manager.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because he's doing it his way. What gives me confidence more than anything with Ten Hag over seasons before, and I can see where Mark's going. We've seen a lot of crap over the last few years, and it's hard to think positive with United. It is. You sort of force yourself to do it sometimes, but the way the club backed him with Ronaldo and the way he dealt with Ronaldo, for me, was a big tick in the United box, and why I think things are changing. The news about the Glazers, that was just some icing and the cherry on top of the cake. Wow, I didn't expect that to happen in the first half of the season. So what it's like, people would say we finished second in our Europa League group, that's not acceptable. We won 5 in a row. Who doesn't get 15 points and win a group? It was just crazy.
Yeah.
And then we got Barcelona in the next round. Yeah, I can see negatives here and there, but it is massively outweighed by positives this season for Manchester United.
I think the overarching thing is, and what I alluded to at the start of the season was, no matter kind of what actually happens in terms of where we finish in the league and everything like that, it is just showing progression and showing that we do improve on and off the pitch. Yeah, 100%. And, you know, we could go into these bigger games against Arsenal and City. We could lose both of them. Like, it's a possibility. But if we lose both of them and play very well in both games, at least you're not going and getting battered. You're not embarrassing yourself. You're seeing again progression, which is the main thing of this season. You know, we could still. I mean, it's a little bit different now because if we finish kind of 5th or 6th now, you would be kind of frustrated with especially what you've seen so far. But yeah, if at the start of the season, like I said, I thought we were going to finish 6th, but still had seen the progression of what style of play Ten Hag wanted to use and implement, then yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. But what he's doing this season, especially, you know, you see the trend season after season, then yeah, it's positive.
I mean, I've seen it all. I've listened to the radio, I've watched TV, I've pundits, I've watched loads of games, Beth, and everyone's always talking, and they've refused to try and include Manchester United in any top 4 race, let alone title charge. They've tried, but I'm just seeing signs now. It's like, okay, off the back of 6 straight wins in all competition, 4 in a row in the league, Manchester United just sneaking up into the top 4 comfortably, the form of other teams. I'm just hearing pundits now. I think it was Danny Murphy the other day, I heard him talking, when he said Manchester United are a worry. As a Liverpool fan, I'm a little bit worried right now. And I know, and you know, City fans who are scared of that game coming up next week, Beth, as well, because people are taking notice of what United are doing right now.
People that are opposition fans that actually know football will be taking it into consideration. People that are just, in my opinion, bitter will be writing us off. I genuinely think, as an opposition fan, you have to consider us. I mean, we've seen a lot of Arsenal fans even say, "Don't sleep on Man United." Like they're looking quite, looking quite good at the moment, and they can say that because they're top. So they're not, you know, they're 9 points ahead of us. They can give us a compliment because they know they're like not comfortably, but they are at top right now. But when I think this conversation needs to be had, for me, I think we're maybe 2 weeks too early in this conversation. But when this conversation really needs to be had is once we've played Man City and Arsenal. Them 2 games are crucial in defining where we actually are at this point in the season. I'm so excited for them. I was absolutely dreading the first Manchester derby coming back off that. Was it the international break or the break from when we had, you know, that break that we had, and I was dreading it because I knew what was coming. But this time, I think we have the tools to give City a game. I'm not saying we're going to win. We definitely could get beat. That could happen. Like, that's probably the highest possibility. But I'm so excited to see what Man United can do at home. I think we can go to the Emirates and get a result. I see that. I've watched Arsenal the last couple of weeks. They look very good going forward, but they have frailties at the back that Man United can exploit. Our defence is good. Why can we not go and get a result there? So them 2 games are season-defining games for us, especially when we've got this bout of good form. And like you said, people might be saying, oh, it's Bournemouth at home, you're getting too carried away. We beat Bournemouth at home with 3-0 comfortably, I would say. Ricky disagreed, but comfortably, with a back 4 that isn't Man United's back 4. So Ten Hag is having the confidence to make changes and rotate because he knows that game we can get the win because he's coached these players, some second string players, into playing in a way that he can get a result, and that's when you really start to see a team that is confident.
Exactly that. Confidence is running through the whole team right now, the whole squad, the playing staff, as well as the coaching staff. You can see the atmosphere around, Charlie, can't you? It's like Manchester United has a good vibe. Yeah. You can feel it in the fans. I mean, you've been to a few games this season.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel it within the stadium. It's like there's an expectation of something good happening rather than that trepidation of like, oh God, how long can we last? When's it going to start going wrong? Yeah. That seems to have left the fan base right now. And the people that I was talking to after the Bournemouth game outside, there was plenty of people wanting to come over and have their say. They were saying that they were looking forward, like Beth, to the Arsenal and the City game now. We're looking ahead to the big games and going, this is where we can really make up some ground, because United have bottled these games before, and it was 2 games last season that we were pretty much outclassed in, and even the Arsenal away. But we have to look at it now and go, the way we're playing, the players that are different in this team from last season, the manager, like we've said, but it's the mentality, isn't it?
I think, look, we could go and play Everton and Charlton and we could look poor in both games. We could maybe lose one of them games, and then, you know, you're having a different conversation going into the City game and obviously the Arsenal game as well. So, I mean, this is the thing. Football is very, I don't know what the word is, but everyone who watches football, they've got very short-term memory loss, isn't it? You're very recent with what happens. So those 2 games we could play awful, we might lose both of them, and then all of a sudden we're shaking our boots and going, you know, Christ, we've got a game on our hands here when we go and play City. Or
to be honest with you on that point, though, just answer me this question now. Did you feel like that after that Aston Villa game? Did you feel, oh, we've gone back?
It wasn't necessarily gone back, but it was like we almost need to remember our place. You know, we need to not necessarily be humbled, but it was like, yeah, you kind of we need to stay in our own lane and focus on,
Did
you know, not get too carried away.
In a row straight after that defeat, though?
No, I wouldn't have said. I mean, we done a prediction. I think it was just before the World Cup was finishing on like the fixtures and what we were kind of expecting, weren't we? And I think I expected us to draw against Wolves and stuff. Admittedly, I didn't actually realise how bad they were doing in the league. But I mean, yeah, again, the more you keep winning, the more confidence you build. You know, and that's why these cup competitions can be used to catapult us into even more confidence to go and, you know, we could, whatever team we field against Everton, Charlton, if we go, especially Charlton, and I said this after the fan forum to Ricky and Kev and Beth, and I said, it actually depends on how you kind of look at the Charlton game. On one aspect, it's a great game to have before City, because you could go play all your, well, not all of them, but some decent players, batter them 5 or 6-0, and you're thinking, yes, City, here we go. But then also you're thinking, you're playing a League One side before possibly playing one of the best teams in the world. So, you know, it's almost one extreme to the other. So, I don't know. We could be having a different discussion in terms of title challenges within the next month.
Sorry, Rob McCormack says City will win the league and we will be comfortably top 4. I think, you know what?
That's a good shout.
I would have accepted that at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think,
if you had snapped your hand off at that at the start of the season, to be honest. But I think it's just how we've been playing that's just swayed us a little bit and made us think maybe even further outside the box than what we were expecting.
The one thing I would say is, I think if we played that Villa game now, it'd be different. We'd just come off that. It was a really horrible journey it was a Sociedad game.
1-0, yeah.
Bruno wasn't allowed to play, so that is a massive cog missing. And Unai Emery's always done a number on us. It was a new manager bounce. I saw that coming from a mile off. I think if we played that game now, it would really struggle still because of that new manager bounce, but we could maybe nick it 1-0. Like, I think we have massively improved in the last 6 games, like you said. There has been improvement.
Well, we played them straight afterwards, didn't we, and beat them. So
that's what I mean. And it's like, I do think you've got to remember the stat that while Casemiro and Varane have been on the pitch together, we've not conceded a goal. Like, that is a mental stat. Like, it's people say City, City, City. Casemiro was started on the bench and Varane came off injured. Like at Chelsea, Varane came off injured, and then Casemiro finished the game. While them two both have been on the pitch, we've not conceded a goal. And Ten Hag has absolutely played a blinder by resting Varane for that Bournemouth game. And like you said, he might get some minutes at Charlton or Everton in the FA Cup, just not anything heavy. And then he'll be fresh, ready for City.
I would play Varane against Everton and rest him for Charlton, and then he's ready for the derby at the weekend. Then that's what it is. It is that. I mean, we'll get on to the next bit. Obviously, guys, the breaking news, just to confirm what we said at the start of the show, Jack Butland has signed for Manchester United as the number 2 goalkeeper. Would be number 2 or 3, I don't know. It's him and Heaton and David De Gea. Man United, the goalkeepers, it's a video on its own, it really is. We don't need to get into it now, but that is confirmed today. That is your breaking news today. But I want to get into a few other bits of news. Mark was talking yesterday about the possibility of João Felix coming to United. This all rolls into the title charge because everyone said it in the comments section as well. It has to be, we have to get back in January. I've said before, I don't see us signing anyone. I'm still sticking with that. I would love to be surprised. I'm trying to think of ways that this might happen. We do need cover up front. We're showing, like we said, we've discussed before, Martial's chances that he had against Wolves, that he had against Bournemouth the other day with his head, are decent strikers, putting them in, and everyone's got their feet up in the stadium relaxing. This is what the big teams do. Them stressful, holding on to 1 goal at the end of a game is not what you need at this stage of the season. But Manchester United do need investment. We've talked about João Felix, 4 million we've offered. I mean, it's 10 million short of what Atleti want. Scott McTominay is now apparently wanted by Newcastle. There's still a big admiration there for Scott McTominay, and Mark was on last night's show talking about United driving a hard bargain with that, making some money for Scott and using that money to then invest into something we really need. João Felix, Beth, we've talked about this many a times. He would make a difference to this team in a title running. We've talked about him being the born winner. That's the sort of calibre of player that would that then give you even more confidence going into the rest of this season, thinking we can actually challenge.
100% would give me more confidence. The reason it gives me more confidence is because I think Rashford's crucial. I do think he's absolutely crucial. But if Martial did get injured, which I'm just waiting for it to happen, I don't want it to happen. I think he's so important. But because of what he's had in the past, I just have trust issues with it. I really just hope he doesn't get injured. But if he does, then you've got a player that can fill in. If Rashford got injured, I hope he doesn't. I think he's so important, but he could definitely kind of step in, still provide goals and still provide some kind of just fierceness in the attack, really. And I've said it before and I'm not afraid to say it. João Felix is a talent. Is Manchester United out and out number 9? Do I think he could maybe come in and be that for a long period of time? No. But do I think he adds class into that attacking line? Does he add goals? Does he have good attacking play? Absolutely. And I would say, talking about purely talent alone, I think only Rashford in that forward line has more of it, really. Martial has the talent, but it's just so inconsistent. And I'm sure Anthony and Sancho have this talent to come up. But when you're looking at world-class talent, I think he can take it to the next level. And people will there's people that love João Felix and there's people that don't think he's good enough. But I definitely think it gives us more, and it gives us something different to what we have now, and it just gives us strength, really.
I mean, this is it. People are talking that it's still not a championship deciding challenging team. So I'm going to throw this one to you, Charlie. I mean, we'll talk about possible incomings as well, but I've just seen it come up in the chat there then. You look at what Manchester United's team is. I'll go like for like with the league leaders right now because everyone's saying Arsenal in the title race. They're 9 clear. You go from goalkeeper through your defence, through your midfield, to your attack. Where's the Arsenal player coming in for you right now? Who would you want to replace anyone from the Arsenal team in Manchester United now for the equivalent positions? I'm looking at, I personally looked at my full-back and my whole defence and I wouldn't take any of Arsenal's over ours.
No, I mean, again, the only thing is, it's our depth, isn't it? That's the only thing which... but Arsenal obviously do struggle with depth as well.
It's the same thing as well, isn't it?
I mean, Saka's one that you'd look at and go, yeah, I'll take a bit of him. But
Saka on the right.
Odegaard as well.
Yeah.
Over...
that's the thing, I wouldn't take him over Bruno, which people crucify me for, absolutely crucify me for. But I'd have him there.
You know, this is why it's so tough, because like Xhaka's having such a good season, but then I'm just like, well, he's been there a long time, and this is probably the only consistent season he's actually had. So it is difficult to judge. But no, depth for us is our main thing. And look, as much as some people, we might go and challenge for this title.
Do you feel like we've got more depth than Arsenal?
I mean, I'd say no, but only because I obviously watch Man United every game, and it's a bit difficult for me to say about Arsenal's like bench players and depth.
I mean, I look at it.
I think we're on the same wave. If
you look at that, like you said before, Beth, you said
players.
the first 2 games of the season, that set us pretty much where we are now behind Arsenal. If we'd have got 4 points out of that, people would have been saying United are in the race against Arsenal.
Yeah.
because we'd have been 5 behind them.
Yeah, I just
You're
think
in it, aren't you?
I think the main thing is, as much as we could challenge for a title this season, to be consistently challenging, year after year for titles, you need squad depth, and it's one for City's squad depth is, they could probably win the league with their second 11 they could put out. So, yeah, something that definitely needs to be improved on. 100%.
Robert McCormack there with a super chat says there ain't 4 better teams or 4 better squads. I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, top 4, I think.
Top 4. I mean,
we should be getting the top 4 because there isn't 4 better squads than what we've got.
I'm looking at. I look at Liverpool, and everyone's saying Liverpool are cruising into a title race still. After what I've seen so far, I'm looking at squad depth for them. Again, I'll go back to Danny Murphy the other day. He said he's not worried about Van Dijk's hamstring injury being worse than what it is now and him being out for a few months. I was like, what do you want? I look at the forward line and I go, yeah, they've got abundance of talent in the forward line coming back. I mean, you look at Diaz coming back, they've got Gakpo, they've got Jota coming back, Firmino's still there, I forgot about him. Yeah. And they're still putting a decent front line out. Now, midfield, I think we're better.
Average,
midfield, they seriously need investment.
Is it
in
all
midfield.
about the mindset then, the mentality, thinking, look, they've done it before? Is it just because it's Ten Hag, it's new, we shouldn't look at a higher bar? We should just accept that we should just get top 4 and do it bit by bit? Or should, you know what, if the chance comes around, start believing that you can do more?
That's it. If the chance does come around, then what,
There's a chance there now.
Why not?
Ten Hag said himself the players have got a lot more belief now, a lot more confidence. He'll be like, I do think that's for Arsenal. I do expect them to drop off a little bit. I don't think they'll completely drop off. I think they're definitely going to be challenging right until the end. I think they have had that instilled in them, but because they've got so much confidence, win after win after win, and it does carry you through in that sense. There's like that Brighton game. They could have. I know it was 4-2. But if anyone watched it, them last 20 minutes, they were horrendous defensively. It could have ended up being a draw at one point.
It did go to 4-3.
They've got frailties there. But this is when you talk about squad depth. Look at Man City's team compared to everyone else.
Yeah,
and when you compare Man City's team to United's, to Arsenal's, to anyone, Man City's players win it every day of the week, and that's the second team as well. That's why I think ultimately they'll rise to the top eventually.
That's it. Great super chat here from Slow Sports News. Charlie says, let's concentrate on getting top 4, securing Champions League and getting a main striker in the summer. For now, we need a loan option. But if you're concentrating on getting top 4, that's when you struggle. Why not concentrate on getting top 2 and then top 4 becomes easier?
Well, I think the minimum requirement now is top 4. I think that's the.
You would be devastated.
That's almost like the lowest point, of your almost achievements that you want to get, and then anything above that is almost, a bonus. So, but yeah, I mean, and it is such a cliche that the players always say at the time, don't they? They always go, we're taking it one game at a time. But that is literally what we've got to do, because you don't want to look ahead to, you've got to get through Everton first. No, it's not the league, but you've got to get through Everton, you've got to get through Charlton, and then you can worry about City, then you can worry about Arsenal. There's no point looking ahead to these games, because you go and play rubbish against Everton, and then you go, oh, we can't really afford to go out against Charlton, and then, it can all snowball effect. So we just got to, keep going.
That's it. I mean, we swayed off subjects a little bit there in terms of improving the squad, but it does fall into it, because Arsenal are looking to improve their squad. We've obviously seen what Liverpool have done with Gakpo. Chelsea, obviously miles behind there, having to do a lot of catch-up there, investing a lot of money as well.
Scary.
Manchester United, we're in that really unlucky situation where we've got what we wanted, but at the wrong time. The Glazers are not going to spend any money when they're looking to sell, but ultimately it is the short-term loss for the long-term gain. If there was a way of making this loan move happen, we talked about João Felix there. Obviously, there's rumours about Choupo-Moting coming in as well. Beth will talk about that as well. It's that other end of the scale, a 33-year-old out-and-out striker, whereas Felix is a bit more versatile forward across the front. Would you be happy bringing in someone like Choupo-Moting on loan if we could get him? Would you be happy with it being a 33-year-old again? I know that sends a shiver down a lot of United fans' spines. You're looking Cavani, Falcao, Igalo sort of territory again, where it's gone the other way, it's gone wrong. Do you feel like that sort of move would help us this season?
Well, first of all, I'd say we need something.
We need a body,
I would
don't we?
so much rather have someone there, even if it is a backup, a backup to Martial.
How good does it have to be? How good does that backup have to be?
Well, they've got to be.
Do you know what
it is? Genuinely, it needs to be someone that can play number 9 better than Rashford and Elanga. I'm not saying he's better than Rashford, because Rashford's going to be on the left, but can play number 9 better than Rashford. But also, they don't have to be better than Martial as a number 9. because we just need some depth. My first choice, I've said, is to get anyone in January would be Felix. I've said it numerous times. But if you're asking me, no one, I'm going to take somebody. Choupo-Moting, he can score goals. He's someone that you can bring on in the last 20 minutes to get you a goal. He's also someone you can play if Martial's injured. If it's a different type of game and Ten Hag wants to mix it up, no one would bat the eyelid if he came and started a game. He's that type of player. I would take that 100% over nothing, because the last thing I want to see is us forcing Elanga into a side that he just isn't ready to play at yet, or you know, just kind of like having to like rely on an 18-year-old Garnacho. Garnacho looks great, but we shouldn't be relying on him.
No.
We need that depth, and we need to be able to score goals. So if you're asking me if I take Choupo-Moting over a 6-month loan, of course I would at this point.
I'll get your opinion on that as well, Charles. Going to read a couple of super chats there. Bring in Makoko and a defensive-minded midfielder, and then I'll believe we're in a title challenge, says Ivan. Cheers for that, mate. Prince says, the other teams around us are not in good shape. We should smell blood. He's saying go for it on this one here. That's what we were saying. A smart board would get Eric Ten Hag tools if there is a chance for a title charge. If we beat Arsenal in a couple of weeks, 6 behind them, they've got Tottenham coming up. Tottenham just got a good win, morale boosting win. There's a lot of teams that can beat a lot of teams, and this is why it gives me a little bit more confidence, because our record in that group of playing the teams around you, we've done very well in, but we talked about Martial and being able to make them games easier, finishing them little chances, Charlie. That's what's important, taking the pressure off the defence, which I think has carried this team nearly all season, because the goal scoring stats are diabolical for Manchester United. I think we're 9th in the top 10 of goals scored this season. It's so bad. Martial's back in now. I understand the nursing back period, but there's gilt-edged chances he's missing. I know that both them headers, Choupo-Moting would score, that he had against Wolves and Bournemouth respectively. But for you, a 33-year-old coming in, it's 12 goals this season from Bayern. Is he an option? Will that basically see us through to the end of the season?
I think I'm similar to Beth in the fact that we need someone at this point. And I know, you know, you bring in how much money you want to spend, whether it is the loan or you just spend a small fee to someone going out of contract. But I think you've also got to take some pressure off Martial as well, because should he get injured, or, you know, he's in a difficult place, because if he's not scoring, we can't really come out, because then your Rashford's going up front, or maybe Elanga or whatever. So, you know, you do want to be able to rest Martial and bring whoever else it might be in. So yeah, I mean, there's loads of names, isn't there? But at this point, it is someone that's a goal scorer. I mean, obviously there's better names like your Felixes and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I'll take anyone. Beggars can't be choosers.
That's it. Caleb says pretty much what we just said then, literally. Cheers for the super chat. It's literally, we just need someone who can finish off balls like the one Casemiro put in for Martial that he wasted with his head the other day. Someone has to score these goals. They're gilt-edged chances. We've missed a lot, because we looked at the stats the other day. Manchester United created more clear-cut chances than anyone else over the Christmas period. It's the conversion. It's conversion rates that we're struggling with.
Has anyone seen that video where Bruno, he's been robbed of so many brilliant assists from players just not being able to finish it off? Like he will find a striker. Like he's done it countless times. And we've got Eriksen as well, he's got 7 assists so far. He's doing very well in managing to get good balls into the box. But like you said, Martial can dribble past people and stick it top bins. He's got ice cold finishes in that sense. His heading ability isn't the strongest, and we need someone that can do everything. So I think Martial is a good striker. I do think he's a good striker, but like Charlie said, we need someone to take the pressure off. We need someone to be able to come in if he's not in good form, if he takes a knock. We don't want to have to be exerting him 3 games a week. We've seen Ten Hag take him off the last 3 games to save the energy and protect him and wrapping him cotton wool a bit, because that's how important he is, even if he's not scoring loads of goals like every game. But we need someone that can do that role, and it is about getting a body in there right now. And I mean, it might just be a 6-month loan. We might not be able to go and get like a world-class striker right now, but something is better than nothing.
That's it. PJ says Keane plus Robson equals Casemiro. I won't go that far.
And one thing I would absolutely say is it is crucial he stays fit. He's got a good injury record, so hopefully.
He has 65 games for Real Madrid last season. Kind of tells you it's not a bad 30-year-old for 60 million, is it?
Know.
Graham Souness. Anyway, I'm digging at Graham every single time on this one. A long day, 2020. the name Graham wasn't used with any newborn at all. It's a stat I heard on the way and just thought I'd bring that up. Spreading. It wasn't used for any newborn. I think in the world, it must have been the world, surely, but Graham is falling.
Can't be in the world.
Graham is falling out of fashion. He is, and some would call it Stone Age, but definitely. Another super chat in from Red Flyer, okay. God's sake, clear your throat. We're completely downplaying Arsenal. I think it's going to be difficult. So we're not downplaying it. I think it's going to be a tough game. Our record at the Emirates is pretty poor, to be honest. It's really poor. I wouldn't say we are downplaying it. Just another quick super chat from Robert. Cheers. That's about your 4th one today. Thank you very much for that, mate. Kane in the summer, thoughts, proven beast. Summer is summer. We are talking, I think we may touch on that right at the end of the show, actually, because I feel like the January transfer window is going to implement what happens in the summer, especially if João Felix walks through the door. We talked about how we make it happen. The Glazers not spending money, not wanting to because they're winding down, selling business. There's been stories that Axel's attracting attention as well. He's realistically come out and said he needs to do more and keep improving and showing the manager that he is good enough to play in the first team. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Watford are interested, apparently a few other clubs. Is that how we make this work? Mark talked about making McTominay happen so we could afford someone, not necessarily Felix, but someone that can help us this season, because Axel's not going to give us anything this season. This could be massive this season.
I mean, we actually counted, I know this is summer, but we counted between 8 and 10 players that we'd possibly look to sell. I know the chances of actually selling all of those players is pretty unlikely, but there's a load of players that we could sell, whether it is this window or in the summer, to generate more revenue, to obviously then put back into signings. One thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't bother selling someone, no matter what contribution they're going to have, just to have whoever it is on loan for 6 months and then not have them come back. I wouldn't really see the point in that, because you're not. I don't think you're really benefiting from it. If it was something that you were going to, do it for 6 months and then have the option or obligation to obviously increase the longevity of the stay, then perfect. But I wouldn't get rid of Tuanzebe just to bring Felix for 6 months and then not have any option of bringing him in permanently. I don't know if that's...
we made a list earlier on of players. I'm going to read through it in a minute. And guys, I'll get your comments as well in the chat on this one. But I've got a couple of super chats just to read out again. Cheers for all your contributions today. Clearly the title has got everyone excited and we're all getting a bit giddy, but it's much appreciated still. Thank you. Max said, should try and get Olivier Giroud in the summer. Proven in the Prem. Oh, that's a tough one to talk about. I'm just going to read the other super chat before we get to that, because I feel we have to sort of address that one. I'm getting the stares. It's not happening, apparently. In the summer, I'd rather have Tamislas Osimhen over Kane, to be honest. Felix now for cover and get us over the line. Still scared about Casemiro having no option. Casemiro having no option to cover Casemiro, I think he means by that. I think that will come in the summer, the Casemiro option. We do need to invest a lot in midfield and attack, I think, more than anywhere else. I think in the summer they have to be number 1 and number 2, but I have to talk about it. The man with the perfect hair, Olivier Giroud, all-time leading goal scorer for France. Beth, you just don't look impressed. Is that just a no-go?
No, it's not that. I think he's brilliant. I think his career is massively underrated, actually. I think he's a very, very, very good striker. He proved that he's still kind of at the top level when he was playing at France. I would do it on a 6-month loan. I would not do it permanently. I don't want to have a 37-year-old hanging around United.
Is that old years?
For 6, yeah.
Oh my God.
36, you know,
36, 37.
Scary,
for 6 months. Yeah. For 6 months, he would do a job for us, just the same way as Choupo-Moting would.
Could he get us a Pip in Arsenal?
On a permanent...
6 months, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Imagine. On a permanent, no. Stay away from strikers coming to the end of their careers is all I'm going to say on that one.
There is almost a little positive to... It doesn't have to be Giroud, but bringing in a more experienced and elderly player for a 6-month period, because especially a Giroud who has won titles and cups and stuff, because they would bring something in that way as well, experience and putting the arm around the younger players and getting everyone up for games and stuff. So there is that aspect. But Giroud, for me, I don't know. I mean, you could get a compilation of his goals, and he looks like the best player in the world, doesn't he? And I mean, he had an alright game against England in the World Cup, didn't he?
He did also.
Yeah. So I mean, look, he's still got it. It's just, yeah, I guess 6 months is. I'd rather have him than not have anyone, I guess.
A brilliant poacher and would 100% score goals. He would.
I guess he adds something completely different to what we have as well.
He's not going to do much. He's not going to be very mobile. He's a target man, and he will get his head on the ball in the box. And we've missed,
bicycle kick or
we've missed some serious chances in that department. We just talked about them then, about other strikers being able to put the chances Martial's missed away. But James Boyle says, I think Turan is the best option, only like 10, 15 mil. Another one we'll probably talk about in the future, but I honestly look at it and I go, Ten Hag has said he wants a particular forward. It has to be the right one that fits the role. Does that? I don't know what that means. Does that mean it's a player that's going to accept he's coming in behind Martial? Or is it a player he thinks he's going to come in and actually take his place and compete harder with Martial? What type of player is it? I mean, are you happy with Martial as long as he's got cover? Or do you want someone better than Martial now? Is that what it's going to take to get us?
I think
in this
now
race?
you find yourself in a difficult position because it's if you bring someone in now that you want to play over Martial, you're then upsetting Anthony Martial. If you bring in someone...
Are we worried about upsetting Martial? Are we worried about upsetting
At this
him?
point, I think, yes. I think at this
You
point...
would say that?
Yeah, I just... Only because, this 6 month period, if we bring someone in and it's just for those 6 months... I mean, if they're going to come in and then they stay long term, then no, I wouldn't be worried because long term they're going to play over Martial anyway. But if they're just being brought in for this, till the end of the season and they're playing over Martial, then yeah, I'd be a little bit, I'd want to keep him happy because if we don't go and get some extremely good striker in the summer, then we're still with Martial and you don't want him to be unhappy. I guess.
I mean, Beth, for you on what Charlie just said there, I mean, I'm trying to set the bar high. I feel like what Ten Hag has done with Cristiano Ronaldo this season, we shouldn't even be considering worrying about what Martial's mindset or what his worries are about him not starting a game. I understand where Charlie's coming from. You don't want a player, if he's the only player, feeling a bit let down or a bit like he's not wanted, when we are probably going to need that. But I think we're at a stage now where it's like, Martial, if you're not up for this fight, you are clearly the number one. And if you cannot take that chance, that's it. Enough chances.
It's with the players you're looking at in January, no one's going to take Martial's spot apart from Felix. But even when Felix comes in, he'll still get game. He'll still get game time.
I'm going to say something outrageous right now. I think Choupo-Moting's taking Martial's spot if he comes in.
I mean, it's been 2 poor games from him. I think people are getting carried away. It's because we're so used to Martial being inconsistent in the past. I think Ten Hag does see something in him. I do think we can improve. As a number 9, we can get better than Martial. As a number 9, we can get better than Martial. Martial can play multiple different positions, but as a number 9, we can get better than Martial. But that, I think it's going to wait till the summer, personally. If we were going for a striker, I want to go for the likes of an Osimhen in the summer and go out for a striker that's young and going to be a world-class striker. That's what I want to wait for in the summer. Right now, like I agree with Charlie in the sense that we've got to kind of get behind Martial, but also bring someone in that can play if he's on bad form, that can play if he's got an injury, that has got a different maybe string to his bow than what Martial has.
That's it. I mean, every team moving forward, I mean, this is long term, but we need that structure in place. I've got a super chat here from Nathan. Cheers for that, Nathan. What do you think of Ralph Rangnick's name for Director of Football with the new owners to be possible? After how many players he named for United to buy and they have become successful at other clubs as well. I mean, we know the list of players that Rangnick's gone through and he's brought quite a lot to the fore. We ignored it. That was the old structure. We've changed it up right now. Quickly, before, because I want to move on to that list of players I think we can use to get rid of. I mean, Rangnick, I think that was my only regret about what's happened so far this season. I think if he stayed upstairs, I think we'd be looking at January in a totally different light.
It's tough, isn't it, to see that he named so many players that now have got moves elsewhere or
and
have been
well.
and have been successful. I think that's but again, it's hindsight, isn't it? Because again, he could come in and bring 10 players in and they could all stink, couldn't they? So I don't know, but I wouldn't really have seen any negatives to obviously him being a part of the role that he was going to take over. But I think there was a lot of theories going around that the new owners coming in and appointing him as that director and almost having it as a big middle finger to whoever it was that didn't want him there.
I do think he'd be a brilliant director, but I just don't think it can happen because of everything that happened. I think he fell out with a few players, didn't he? And I think Ten Hag probably didn't want him there. He wanted a complete fresh start. I think he's a brilliant director. I wish it could have worked out differently, but I don't want to go back in time.
That's it, yeah. I mean, it would have been nice, and a sporting director is key. Definitely, that is I can't wait to have that conversation when it comes about, when we actually talking under new ownership.
Yeah,
that will be
brilliant.
A great show to be doing. That'll probably be the biggest smile on my face ever, talking about the possibilities that we can actually do. New infrastructures and all of that. But yes, we're talking the here and now, and obviously we did say we had a list earlier on. I'm going to go through some of that list, and guys, in the comment section, let us know what you think. Are you in agreement with this list of players that probably should be going out the door, and I think possibly in January as well? First up, we're going to say we talked about Axel.
Yeah, gone.
We talked about Scott McTominay and Donny van der Beek. Donny van der Beek won't now because he's got what looks like a really bad knee injury. But McTominay and Axel, we've pretty much discussed them. We've said them. Then we're looking at Brandon Williams, Beth.
I wouldn't get rid of McTominay.
You wouldn't get rid of
No.
McTominay? If you had to choose McTominay or Fred, though?
It's a tough decision. I'd want to wait till the end of the season till I make my mind up.
You
Right
have to do
now,
it
I
now.
don't think we're in a rush.
This was-
I'm not in a rush to sell either of them now.
If you want to make a title challenge, which this video is, we're just going to throw you in it here right now. Felix, you had to sell Fred or
I think
McTominay.
we need both of them.
No.
But I
But to
think we
get
need both of
Felix,
them because Donny's injured, and then you're looking a little bit light. We need two midfielders on the bench.
So you'd keep both of them to not sign Felix?
Well, no,
But that's just
This
the
is
thing
the
we're putting
question,
towards you.
no, I'd get
that's
rid
it.
of one, wouldn't I?
You're going to have to.
It's a really tough decision.
Oh,
because,
come on, Beth.
I mean, what you're really going to get, like, for I think you probably get more money for Scott just because of his age and contract and stuff like that. But I think Fred's done pretty well off the bench recently.
He
It's
has.
a tough decision.
That's why I would keep Fred over Scott
I'm
right now.
completely on the fence. I'm genuinely on the fence about it. I
mean,
think Scott has more physical presence, and he obviously has got that leadership qualities.
People are saying Iqbal would just come forward.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Fred, he's been very good off the bench. He seems to be knowing his role a lot more under Ten Hag. He's developing, and he gives you that kind of wasp-like player that can come on in games, and he has got a purpose. He's got a purpose, so it's like, it's tough. It's really tough. Probably say if I had to sell one because of the money that we'd probably get, it's a really tough one for me. Maybe McTominay, but if you asked me a month ago, I would have said Fred.
That's it. It does chop and change in form with them to win a season. It's crazy, isn't it, Charlie? Which one would you do right now if it meant getting that one forward in a position you need more?
You're going to get more money for Scott, and I think we need more money to then buy more players. So I guess, yeah, Scott's
What
the
do we
one
reckon
that's gotta
Scott
go.
McTominay's worth?
I reckon you're
What
going
do
to
you
get
reckon
20
his market
mil.
value?
25,
20 mil?
Yeah.
I think you get 20 mil from off Newcastle.
He's liked by a lot of people. Everyone keeps saying it. Everyone rates Scott McTominay.
Yeah.
He won't leave anyway.
25 million?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah, that would
20
be
to
more.
25.
Yeah, I mean that would be your actual youth academy actually working in a way, actually making a profit on a youth player for a change.
Yeah.
Don't seem to be able to do it, but I mean, we talked about the defence as well. There are a couple of keepers in that list, obviously Henderson and Heaton are not relevant right now, but Lindelof and Maguire are the two there that you would probably get money for. We could get rid of one, I would say, right now, because you just don't know what's going to happen. We said Axel's going, so obviously we do need to get rid of one of Lindelof or Harry Maguire.
I think Maguire for me. As long as another centre back,
I feel like Maguire,
replacing him that's of better quality, then I'd be happy to get rid of Maguire. Yeah.
I think Maguire simply because he feels like he's better than what he is and wants to be playing more. He's the captain, whereas Lindelof I think knows his role. Does that make sense?
We need a centre back in the summer. We've been saying this for a while. Someone that can kind of take over from Varane eventually and learn under Varane and fill in if he's injured. We definitely need another centre back in the summer, but that means you do have to sell Maguire or Lindelof. And I'm on the same page as you, Adam. Is in Lindelof, I think, can come in, no questions asked, play decent games and be a good squad player for United. I think he's the perfect third choice centre back. Whereas I think Maguire wants to be in the team. Everyone's always looking at him when he's not because he was 80 mil. And I actually think he's probably less suited to Ten Hag's system than even Lindelof is.
Yeah, because I think his passing is...
Probably get more money for him as well, actually, maybe.
Yeah, I think you would.
Someone would buy Harry Maguire.
Oh, 100%.
Easily
There'll be
buy.
prem teams still.
He's got stuff. He's got he's got attributes to offer teams. I'm not saying he's a horrible defender. He just doesn't work in our team.
He sometimes is a horrible defender. there is parts where you think, what are you doing?
I don't know if it's just
But
with Man United or what.
It's that red shirt. When he pulls that red shirt on, he just turns into a different animal altogether. It's like the Amityville Horror. When he goes back into the house, it all goes wrong, doesn't it? And then when he goes out of it, it's like brilliant. It's like as soon as you come home, it's like turns into this demon. It's like, wow, God's sake, Harry, what is going on? Robert McCormack in with a super chat says, Eric Ten Hag would not want to sell Scott McTominay. I can understand that. I mean, we're just saying how we make this happen.
He won't leave.
A cutthroat decision could possibly happen just to give us that edge in this, because guarantee if we end up somehow getting 4 points out of City and Arsenal, United are in a title challenge. You cannot disguise it. Halfway through a season and you're looking at the movers and the shakers and everything, United are in the mix. It is what it is.
In my opinion, if Donny wasn't injured, I would move Donny on, keep Fred and McTominay as squad players, and then bring in one midfielder that can challenge with them, that three.
You're right.
Fred and Scott are literally the perfect squad players to have.
Yeah. Donny's threw a spanner in the works by unfortunately getting injured again. I do hope, it did look nasty. I wouldn't have seen it back on the replay.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for him.
I do hope that he's okay and it's not as bad as what we all think it is. Phil Jones is hiding in the toilet, says Keith. It's transfer window time.
You've got Phil Jones.
Phil Jones is
Brandon
missing.
Williams, Tellez, Bailly, there's players out there on loan that
Is there anyone you bring back? Is there anyone you bring back from loan?
Diallo, Ahmad. I wouldn't bring him back. I thought you mean when his loan is up.
Yeah, I mean we actually may see that £30 million worth of player when he comes back. He's been excellent for Sunderland. Yes, it's the league below, but I can't remember a Manchester United loan move working so well for a player in the past.
So rare, isn't it?
It is. It is a rarity, and it's good. It's good to see. Member Steve Swift, 35 months a member. Well done to you, mate. Why not sell Scott McTominay and take in Tielemans for very cheap?
Nope.
Tielemans wouldn't fit in my team right now. I don't know where we're playing.
It'd just be
He's not getting in ahead of any in the midfield, is he?
I think Tielemans is overrated by a lot of United fans. I hear it all the time. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's.
I think him moving to Newcastle will probably be a perfect situation. Like, he improves their midfield tenfold. I think you put him alongside Bruno, and I think they get better. Whereas he doesn't fit in our starting midfield. He just gets brought in, and I don't think he's going to want to sit on the bench, is he? So.
That's it. I mean, there's people saying Ghana would have worked well. He was sold on. I don't know. I think some people are expecting a lot more from the youth players at Manchester United than what they actually are. There are some good players there, but they're just not ready. We had to be talking title races. We had to be talking Manchester United against Arsenal. It just had to bring in a super chat from a certain someone. Zane, how are you doing, mate? Hope you're doing well. I will read your super chat out. Cheers for your contribution, mate. I was wondering when you were going to poke up. We mentioned Arsenal about 5 times so far. I'm sure he's got like one of them alert things. As soon as someone says something about Arsenal, he comes in. But you won't get a point against Arsenal. We are playing at home. Oh, that makes a difference for them. We won't make the same mistakes again. I don't know what mistakes they are. They beat us pretty much the last few times there.
No, I think he means the first game at Old Trafford this season.
What's that, mate?
3-1.
Well, we just clinical, weren't we? We're just better in front of goal. It's simple as that, mate. Yes. Plus, we are the only team to dominate Newcastle. We neutralised Rashford. Job done. Dominate Newcastle.
They didn't dominate at all. They had the team with the upper hand, but we should have got 3 points when Newcastle came.
I wonder what it's like living in cuckoo land.
They're allowed.
Do you know what I hear from Arsenal fans a lot? It should have been this, it should have been that, we dominated this. At the end of the day, you drew to Newcastle and we beat you 3-1, so deal with it.
Exactly that. We were the only team to beat you, mate. You may have been the only team in your mind to actually dominate Newcastle, but we in fact the only team to beat you this season. It would be nice, wouldn't it, to get the double over Arsenal in their mega season.
It would be lovely.
It would be funnest. Robert McCormack's come with a super back on to Zane. Says, Zane, we won't lose like Arsenal, we're better than you. Oh, a straightforward answer there from Robert. I was expecting something a bit more elaborate, but straight to the point, that's what we're all about. Arteta out, that's a few. Yeah, that's ignited the chat, what Zane said there, bringing in the Arsenal side of things. I mean, realistically, Arsenal have done well this season. They are the best team in the league. You can't deny them that. But I think they're in a worse position than us. If they miss a key player, I think they're worse than what we are if we lose a key player of ours.
They lost Jesus and they're doing all right.
Yeah, but they didn't score against Newcastle. And they
But
played the worst away team in the league in West Ham.
To be fair, as influential as Jesus has been, he was on a goal scoring drought. He hasn't scored in a while, did he? He went the first 10 games or something, was it? He was scoring and then. But I do think, and I was very impressed with when I went to the Man United Arsenal game of how he gave Varane and Martinez
that was
a game.
Good battle, that was a good battle. It was like an old-fashioned centre forward set up, wasn't it?
He was kicking him and everything, weren't he?
Zane's in with another one. Robert's got him hooked here now. We're on a bit of a super chat war going on. Robert, you worship Kane. By Kane, please. Saka levels ahead. Different position, Zane. Come on, you've got to do better than that, Zane. Seriously, mate. It's a different position on the pitch. And on a night when Kane actually, how many is he behind?
He's on 15
amazing
now.
Haaland now.
Yeah, he's on 15.
6 goals
Kane.
behind him.
Haaland is having this worldly of a season, and Kane's still holding his own, still right up
That's
there.
The thing. It shows how ridiculous Haaland's actually doing, because the goals that Kane's putting up is still ridiculous as well, isn't it? So
it is. But I mean, title race, realistically, I think we're all in the understanding that we're taking top 4, aren't we? Mm-hmm. We're happy with that, and I'm just happy with the progress that the team is making. Being able to go to United games and actually sit there and think we can actually compete, let alone score a goal. That's how it was last season. It's like, how many are going to score? How many are we going to ship? We had some horrible games last season, didn't we? But it does feel good going back to United again and feeling connection with the players. And I think that is down to Ten Hag. Before we do go on this show, guys, do make sure you stay tuned. 4:30 Mark will be back for the press conference, the presser video, the reaction to Ten Hag, who's been talking today ahead of the FA Cup game against Everton. So that will be on YouTube at 4:30 today. So do tune in for that one. That's why Mark isn't on the 2 o'clock today. He's back still with you this afternoon. So calm down, everybody. But guys, Charlie, Beth, cheers for coming on. It's been good having a bit of a catch up live with everybody. We've got everyone involved in the chat. When are we finishing the league, Beth? Quick now.
Third,
Charlie,
but we'll have this discussion again after Arsenal and City.
Fourth, I think we'll take any of them, 3rd or 4th. Slow Sports News in with a super chat just right at the end as I was finishing up. Love how Arsenal fans pipe up. Seem to forget there's another 5 months. A lot can change. That goes for us as well, mate, I think, as well. A lot can change. One bad injury and I'm starting to worry a little bit. But guys, that is it. Cheers for tuning in. Like I said before, do tune into Mark at 4:30 for the press conference reaction from Ten Hag today. Obviously, we'll be back tomorrow and it's game day. We'll see you then. Like, share and subscribe to the United Stand. Cheers for watching, everybody. Drop your comments in below and let us know what you think about everything we've discussed when this video goes up on YouTube in just a minute's time. Cheers, everybody.